The 1870s were a period of incredible growth for Colorado's mining industry, resulting in thousands of boomtowns springing up, including Teller City and the various camps nearby. 100 years ago, their streets were bustling with saloons, hotels, and businesses, and while today they are mere fields with an occasional decaying foundation in them, today we'll step back in time and meet these legends of Colorado and uncover their Wild West stories and incredible lives. Teller City got its beginnings in 1879 as a typical Colorado boomtown. Originally discovered and founded by Medore Cushman, the deed to the town site was the first such record in Grand County. Named after Henry M. Teller, Colorado's junior senator who fought hard to protect the value of silver, a commodity that would prove key in keeping the state's mines afloat. News spread quickly of the town founded on top of a rich silver vein, and prospectors began flooding in, becoming the largest town in Grand County with a population of nearly 1,500 people, eclipsing even many other boomtowns of its era. Teller City's first regular stagecoach service was well over 100 miles from the town site in Laramie, Wyoming. However, in the autumn of 1881, a Coloradan named Samuel B. Stewart opened a toll road to Teller City that traversed Cameron Pass, enabling the town's economy to explode. With such a massive influx of miners, the town's economy grew rapidly, with the construction of hundreds of cabins, 27 saloons, numerous businesses, and the Yates House Hotel, a state-of-the-art establishment that had 40 rooms and was the site of frequent dances. One girl recalled entering Teller City one night and admiring how beautiful the town looked, recalling how, quote, lights shone from all the cabin windows and the Yates House was lighted from top to bottom. Located along C Street, the hotel was one of many businesses along Teller City's most popular street, with a post office, Hildren's Meat Market, Bach and Roberts grocery store, the Endomile Mines office, and even a furniture and china shop sitting right next to it. Teller City even had its own mayor, recorder, town marshal, city judges, and with the establishment of the North Park Miner, the town received its first official newspaper, which had a subscription cost of about $2.50 per year. When he first arrived, supplies were so limited in the town that the editor couldn't even purchase a can of lye or get oil for his press. One weird story from this time period was when a miner by the name of Sharp, who worked at the Wolverine mine and had won thousands in prizes from previous races, competed in a foot race against a challenger from nearby Grand Lake and lost the race. But Sharp continued running straight out of town, and along with him, the more than $4,000 to $14,000 in bet money that he owed. Mines in the area varied in the success of their productions, but by far the most lucrative one was the Endomile mine, a gold and silver operation that had its own blacksmith and ore shops. The Lizzie and the Little Nelly mines also produced very good ore, however not enough to outweigh transportation costs for very long. The aforementioned Park City was also founded around 1880 due to the area's silver boom, and not long afterwards it had a population of between 800 to 1,000 people, although for some reason it never had a post office. There were two other mining camps in the area called Crescent and Tyner, with the former having a post office for a mere 7 months, which is surprising given that it supposedly just had a mess hall for some of the miners. Tyner, on the other hand, had both a store and mess hall for one of the nearby mines and retained its post office for about 2 years. Named for John Noble Tyner, who at the time was the extremely corrupt postmaster general under President Ulysses S. Grant, was only occupied for a couple years and little else is known about the site. Most of the miners at these towns opted to leave the area during the harsh Colorado winters, heading to places like Laramie or Fort Collins, and very few actually brought their families due to how arduous the journey was. Despite having ore worth as much as $3,000 per ton, which was nearly $97,000 when adjusted for inflation, Teller City never received a railroad, and any and all ores from the mines had to be hauled out by burros and wagons, yielding extremely high transportation costs by methods that were nearly impossible during the Colorado winter. And when the price of silver began to decline in 1884, 1924. The mines of the area were all hit hard, causing Park City, Crescent, and Tyner to be abandoned overnight, while Teller City's population dropped from over 1,000 to just 300 by 1887. Although it's unknown exactly what year the last residents left Teller City, we know that by 1902 it was almost completely abandoned, with its buildings beginning to succumb to the harsh Colorado mountain elements over time. In the 1990s, almost 100 years after the formation of Route National Forest, Teller City was designated as a special interest area, and the Forest Service began conducting historic preservation efforts at the site, including building a replica cabin over the foundations of one of the original cabins, along with a short yet incredible loop trail going around the town site. Today, Teller City is one of the best preserved ghost towns in Colorado, with dozens of structural remains soon to be covered up by regrowing pine trees. The foundations along the beginning of the trail are mainly old miner cabins, while as you progress further along the trail, you'll come to a couple partially overgrown wagon roads that you can follow for a little bit. The second road is the remains of C Street, and even though it was last busy over 140 years ago, there's still a ton of foundational remains and interpretive signs that bring it to life, including the Yates Hotel, which today is the largest remaining foundation at the site. If you go off trail and go behind the Yates, then you can find another wagon road that literally just goes off into the forest with no clear destination, a thought that has always piqued my imagination. There's also a couple decaying building remains hidden along the path in the trees as well, which you cannot see along the main Forest Service trail. I also visited the sites of Tyner and Crescent, and any foundations that may have once been there have since been reclaimed by nature. Although I must say that these towns' residents had one hell of a view of the mountains off in the distance. As for Park City, which while mysterious in its history, today you can still find two old cabins that are surprisingly better preserved than most of what remains at Teller City, including one with what appears to have been a stove or oven of some kind inside. Neither of these buildings have been stabilized by the Forest Service and are unfortunately rotting away into the earth. They are also extremely difficult to find if you don't have their exact location. When I was visiting the site in June of 2024, it took me over an hour to figure out where the location was, and I only stumbled upon it when I was about to give up. Although today these ghost towns have largely been lost to time, their legacy lives on through the surviving buildings in their pristine mountain meadows, with the echoes of the ghosts who inhabited them still hearable if you listen closely enough, as well as the many descendants of the original miners who still live in nearby towns like Gould or Walden. Yeah, the miners who built these towns braved the unknown, traversing rugged mountains, harsh winter snow, and illnesses, attempting to strike it rich, although many of them, in fact most of them, would return home broke. Today, many of these ghost towns and abandoned mines are decaying and being reclaimed by Mother Nature, and our time to explore their remains is running thin. With your help and care, towns like Teller City will continue to be preserved for many years into the future for our descendants to continue to experience their incredible stories and see the Wild West as it was then. Raw, rugged, massive, and beautiful. I'm Zane Lewis. Thanks for watching.